Coming up on the Making Waves VO podcast.
I have the honor of being the Vice President of Merchandising at Full Compass, and I also get to work with my brother, Jason Welch.
Yep,
He's the Vice President of Marketing. So
you didn't realize that was his brother?
No, he was your brother.
I forgot to tell you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I don't see it.
Making waves.
Making waves.
Making waves.
Making waves. Making waves.
Making waves.
Making waves.
Making waves. Making waves.
This is the Making Waves VO podcast with Kevin Kilpatrick and Bobby Maxwell.
And it is indeed the Making Waves VO podcast. We're recording live in Atlanta, Bobby.
Yes, we're here. It's VO Atlanta 2025, and we're here with our friends from
At Full Compass. It's such an exciting day. Everybody's having a great time at VO Atlanta. They're learning, they're getting great educations, and they're coming by the Full Compass booth. There's 16 by 8 space and checking out all the microphones. But let's get our first guest on from Full Compass. What a great guy. Mike, thank you so much for coming to VO Atlanta, and thanks for sponsoring VO Atlanta. It is Mike Ramirez, and tell everybody what you do at Full Compass.
I'm the Director of Marketing Operations, so I pretty much keep the machine moving on all things advertising, print, digital, as well as exhibiting space with our trade shows.
All right, before Bobby has a question for you, I want to ask you, what was the most challenging thing about getting all this stuff here?
I think really picking the right gear that we wanted to show and showcase each different demo station with 4 similar microphones, but different quality, different price points, to really let these attendees find their voice.
I love that.
Awesome. So it's crazy that it's been a year already since your first show with VO Atlanta. Tell me about the interest from the voiceover community with Full Compass, and what have they been asking you?
Oh, it's been tremendous. Last year was awesome, amazing first year. This year is even more incredible. Not only are the attendees learning, we are learning so much more this year than we knew last year. It's amazing. Having this demo station, having people listen to themselves, and then ask questions immediately is so engaging. It's building these great relationships, and we think we're going to have a great following after this show.
That's one of the big questions that voiceover people have to begin with is what kind of mic and what I want to sound like. So this is perfect to be able to check out so many.
Mike is talking on a U87. I have got the Sennheiser 416, and Bobby is talking on the Electrovoice RE20.
Which is taking me back to my radio days. I mean, wow, this is cool. So is this still primarily used for radio stations, or do voiceover people use this as well?
Voiceover people use as well, but it is truly one of the go-tos in broadcasts still to this day.
That's awesome. Mike, we're going to let you get back to shaking hands and kissing babies, and we're going to bring on a special guest. Thanks for your time, and thanks for allowing us to be here, okay?
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Love it.
Hope to see you next year.
Let's get George the Tech. Can we get George the Tech Whittam over here? And everybody knows George the Tech in the VO world, Bobby, right?
Oh, yeah. I was just talking to someone at lunch today, and he said he was having a crackle with what he thought it was his interface. And before I could even get it out of my mouth, he goes, so I got in touch with George Whittam, and I was like, okay, if anybody knows anything, it's going to be this guy right here.
So which is the front of the mic here?
Oh, my gosh. George the Tech Whittam, welcome to the Making Waves VO podcast. So good to see you in Atlanta, as we do most years. And you see this cool booth setup they got here for Full Compass, and they got all these microphones. Yeah. Would you describe the 3 different microphones that we're working on, the types and styles they are?
Oh, yeah. We are all on totally different mics, which is kind of fun, actually. I'm on a U87 AI. This is the current model. It's a 3 pickup pattern mic, so it does omni, cardioid, and figure 8. At the moment, interestingly, it's in figure 8, which means that... Oh, no, it's in cardioid. I have to use my glasses. It's in cardioid, so it's mostly facing toward me. You are on a Sennheiser MKH416 RF shotgun mic. That's a super cardioid mic. It's ultra directional, and it's definitely like a staple of the studio, as well as the U87. And then on a very different vein is another very venerable mic. That's the EVR E20. It's in sort of a I don't know how to describe that color. Almost olive drab,
Yeah, it
almost
does have
gray,
an olive tint
sort of
to it,
halfway
doesn't it?
between. And you've seen these in radio stations aplenty, and sometimes perched in front of a kick drum.
Yeah, and this one, the RA20 is a hardy microphone, isn't it?
Super hardy, yeah. It's super hard. That mic, that's why these mics and the Shure SM7, which is next to it.
So if I pop over here.
These microphones are designed to essentially take endless abuse.
I love that.
This is a really
but not-
popular mic for beginners, correctly?
I would say it is really popular in the broadcast podcast. Some voiceover. I don't like it for voiceover as much because of its lack of sensitivity, and we want really lots of articulation and detail with our mics. And the SM7 works fantastic with higher output levels or louder sources, not so much with subtle sources.
Hey, it's Amanda from Amanda Utter VO, and you're listening to the Making Waves VO podcast with my friends, Kevin and Bobby. Thanks for listening.
So, briefly, I want to talk about the interface that we got going here, and that will be a perfect segue into what George Whittam has come up with. But tell us, you know this UA interface here?
I'm somewhat familiar. I haven't used it that much, but I have a few clients that have used the Volt 1, the Volt 2, and then there's the Volt 2, what's this one?
This is the 476p.
That's the 76. So yeah, what these do is they provide sort of like what a more basic interface like a Scarlett would do, and then add in a few extra little seasoning choices. So if you want to add a little bit of spice, there's a vintage mode, I believe. And that will give the microphone, that'll give the preamp a little bit of color.
Love that. Very
Okay.
cool.
Oh, there's your compressor. Oh, so
Yeah,
it's
And
all
does that change on the fly?
Yeah, so each channel has a vintage mode and a compressor mode with a dedicated button. So anytime you want to add those to the signal, you can press those buttons. So if you do a lot of voiceover work on the same mic all day, every day, and you just want to have some different color and you don't know what to do differently, but you just want to try something, you can turn on vintage and it's going to give it a slight amount of distortion. It's very subtle,
Little crunch.
but it's a little bit more like what a vintage piece of mixer might have sounded like or something like that. So
Love that.
I wouldn't say it's my everyday mode, but it's I want something different here. I want it to be a little more gritty, a little bit more, have some more character. So that's vintage
Can I
mode.
can I try it here, Sam? All right, let's go. So right now, without the vintage mode engaged, no vintage mode, and now we're going to engage. The vintage mode is engaged, and
Yeah,
just
I
some.
can hear
Did you
it.
pick it up?
Yeah, just
And this one here? That one would be Oh, this one. There. Well, I guess you didn't hear
I
it.
thought I was hearing something. I thought I was
You
hearing.
heard George.
Yeah, that was George. Now here I go with my headphones on. Check. Oh yeah. That's just a little dirty.
Yeah, it's trying to emulate an older circuit that was a really popular musician's studio preamp circuit. So that can be a good thing or a bad thing. So you really want to be judicious when you choose to use filters, because those filters are permanent, right?
Yeah.
You're printing the effect. It's recorded in the audio always. So
What's
Can't
the
take
price
it out.
range on something like this?
good question. You guys
Sam?
know?
Sam, it's a higher end product, right?
300? 3 to 400.
3 to
Okay.
400. So it looks at the quality of the build and the actual like industrial design of it makes it look a lot more expensive than that, doesn't it?
It does.
It looks like a $500-600 unit, but it's pretty
Very
good. It's
cool.
a pretty good deal.
Well, we know George is going to take off in just a minute, but Bobby,
Yeah.
do you want to get a tease from George about
so
this?
A good friend of ours, Rob Ryder, he does a lot of audiobooks. He sent me a picture, a screenshot of this new piece of equipment that he was just geeking over, and he had waited a year and a half for.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
it's George's own invention, the Centrance Passport VO. This thing is the size of a wallet,
Yeah.
and
It
he
is.
brought it along.
The confusing thing about it is that it is so small. If it was 3 times larger, like the Volt 476, it would make a little more sense. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But the thing that its packaging precludes the functionality and the quality of it.
Okay.
It's still very high quality, what we call discrete electronics, which engineering people know what that means.
Just
But
low ohm stuff?
it discrete means that like rather than having most of the circuitry baked into a single little chip, this still uses more of a traditional system with actual components like resistors, capacitors, etc.
Okay.
And these are all things that contribute to the sound quality. They're subtle things, but when you hear it lined up with other more budget interfaces, you start to hear it.
Okay.
But yeah, it's shockingly small because we built it into a form factor that already existed from Centrance. The company that makes it is called Centrance. You know Centrance from MicPort Pro fame. You know what a MicPort Pro? They look like a cigar, a little black cigar. That was their first microphone product. This is just that idea. Just what can we do that what's every feature a voice actor is missing from a complete studio? That's what we packed into this product, from microphone muting to mic A/B switching between two mics to a built-in loop back for doing playbacks to the ability to record.
Playback.
Yeah, it does playback loop. It does guest record. So if you're on a Zoom call, you can record the guest to a separate track. That's all just wired into the unit. It's just baked into the DNA of it.
And it really does look pretty simple. Like it's compact with several buttons, but it does look simple and easy to understand and operate. We got the mic power right there.
Yeah.
And then
it has so it has a lot of switches, but a lot of the switches are sunk below the surface, which is very intentional, because what most people need is to have it set in a way that works for them, but they don't want to worry about it getting misset or a switch bumped or, oh my gosh, I didn't notice where it was before. With a product where a lot of those set it and forget it switches are, when they're below the surface and you have to use a pen or a little pick tool, that means that you can't misset them by mistake on the fly. And we really want this to be something that you can have in your booth or by your microphone and operate without looking at it.
Love it.
There's no screen. You can run it by feel. You can tell where the switches are. You can feel where the gain knob is. You can tell without having to stare at it,
So if with the size of it here, was it intended to be used for mobile use? Or is it just you just want to do something small?
It's honestly it's overkill for almost anybody's normal road kit.
Yeah.
But I think the people that will appreciate its portability the most will probably be like reporters and field reporters, because to have this one little kit they plug into their phone and they can record interviews, they can play back an interview and have that feed down the line on they can have their laptop and their phone connected, play back some interview they recorded earlier and send that down the line to the station on their tie line or whatever Comrec software, whatever it is they use, and be able to do all that real time and have a mic connected and introduce the spot. They can have way less gear than traditional, where you probably have a briefcase with a Mackie mixer and you'd have a lot more gear. This substitutes for a lot of other equipment that a reporter would normally need to carry around. So.
I know you did pre-orders, as we were talking about before.
We did, yeah.
But when is it going to be available to the public officially? And should we maybe hope it's going to be with Full Compass?
We're hoping that Full Compass and others pick it up. Right now we are building the campaign to get the next batch made. The way Centrance operates, being a very small boutique company, is they only produce a small numbers of batches so that they don't get hung up with back inventory, which is super expensive to do. So the next thing that's going to be happening, there may be, by the time you hear this story, there may still be one or two in stock at Centrance. But then the next thing that's going to happen is we're going to get all these dealers to put in orders with them. And then when that happens, that's going to trigger the next batch to be made, and then they'll be much more readily available. So
George the Tech Whittam, thanks so much for your time. You better get to your speaking engagement, my friend.
I have to go talk.
And thanks for bringing that by.
We'll look for it in our Christmas stocking in
Thanks,
December.
you guys. Thanks for throwing me on the show.
Yeah, thanks for your time,
Sam.
man. Much appreciated.
Thanks, George.
And we must mention that the Making Waves VO podcast, of course, presented by Full Compass, fullcompass.com.
Yeah, we know VO.
And they are doing an amazing special for attendees of the conference. So if you attended the conference at VO Atlanta, on most items there are some restrictions, but you can get up to 20% off, Bobby.
I love that. I mean, you're going to have these people who attended, who went through all those microphones, and they're going, and then they're thinking, I'm going to save 20% with this code. So we that'll start up when we leave.
Yeah, make sure and take advantage of that. And again, some restrictions apply, and you just talk to your rep or go online for all the information. But it is an amazing deal, and you can actually save up to $1,000. So if you bought $5,000 worth of stuff, you're going to get $1,000 in savings, which is mind-blowing when you think about it.
I'm all about it.
Don't go anywhere. The Making Waves VO podcast returns in a moment.
Hey, it's Bill DeWeese. You know, you can splish-splash around in voiceover, or you can make some waves, like my good friends Kevin and Bobby, on the Making Waves VO podcast.
Oh, Bobby, I remember getting into voiceover, and one of the most exciting parts about getting into voiceover is buying all the gear. You don't realize that until you become a voice actor and you got to produce your own stuff. And you go, ooh, this part should be fun. But then you go, I have not a clue on what I'm supposed to buy.
Exactly.
That's why you trust your good friends at Full Compass, fullcompass.com. They know VO there, and you're going to have a great selection of pro audio gear, and you're going to get a lot of good help. And there's a lot of good attributes that go along with buying from Full Compass.
Yeah, so if you're not really sure when you got the piece of equipment and you have questions about it, they have a free 2-year service or repair plan. They have free shipping on orders over $49. I love that. I think my favorite thing is the low price guarantee, because you just never know. You said a second ago that you're getting into this and you don't know what you need, but how about, do you know if you're paying the right price for it? So you don't have to worry about that when you shop at fullcompass.com. They'll guarantee to match the price on the products they sell for new, identical, and immediately available products offered at a lower price.
They have flexible financing, Bobby, and they also have free expert assistance, and that's why we say we know VO at Full Compass.
Everything from microphones to interfaces to headphones to mic booms, they've got it.
If you have any questions and you're more old school and you want to call them on the phone, you can call Full Compass at 800-356-5844. Full Compass and fullcompass.com.
We know VO.
Making Waves returns.
How many microphones do they have here total?
Oh.
Sam?
Actually, let's get Sam on. Sam, do you mind joining us?
Come on over here.
Spin this around so that I can.
Sam is
look
one
at
of
the
the
software.
What is your
Hello.
official title, Sam?
I am a category manager for recording musical instruments and software at Full Compass.
So break that down. What does that mean?
I'm in the merchandising department, so I'm kind of like a bridge between our supply chain team and our marketing team. I work with the vendors, so I would work with Sennheiser, I would work with Neumann, I would work with Shure if they're coming out with a new product, work with our marketing team to make sure that product has a good launch, and work with our supply chain team to make sure we have it in stock. So I'm kind of that bridge between it, making sure we have things in stock that move well at Full Compass while doing research on new products that are coming down the line. So yeah.
So you know in your sleep every microphone here.
Actually, I honestly have learned a lot by coming here. I have somewhat of a background in recording. My background, I went to school for film and video, so that's my background. I did recording. I recorded music as a hobby, so I still have a lot to learn, and I loved coming here and just hearing different use cases for different microphones, especially in the voiceover world. I learned so much by just talking to different people doing different projects about each microphone, and yeah, different use cases for different microphones. It's been really eye-opening coming here.
Any questions you couldn't answer that people threw at you today?
I had a few questions I couldn't answer, and then I would Google it. So I'm humble enough to say when I don't know an answer, and then I'll just pull out my phone and Google it. So
we love our equipment.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's. I had a lot of questions about interfaces and microphones both today. So yeah, that's been a common topic where people are trying to look to upgrade their interfaces. And that's my category. That's what I focus on. So yeah, it was great talking about different brands that do interfaces. We are using Universal Audio at all of our stations today. We have Apollos at the other two stations. We have the Volt here. Yeah, and it's been great talking to people about that stuff too. Yeah,
I'm a fan of the Apollo Twin. I've got one upstairs right now. I actually got it from Full Compass. So when you record, do you do vocals too?
Yeah.
What mic do you use when you record your vocals?
I am using a Audio-Technica 2035, I think, is the brand. So
big diaphragm.
Yeah, big diaphragm, large diaphragm microphone. I'm currently setting up my studio right now. I just moved into a house, and I'm still working on making that soundproof, but it's a small little room in my basement. It's got concrete walls right now, so I'm trying to foam that up.
Love it.
To have it be less reverberated. But yeah, that's what I'm working on right now. I think Audio-Technica and Rode are both great brands if you're looking to get into recording or voice work at a lower cost point.
Yeah,
they make
they're
really good
budget-friendly brands.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. I've used this 416 every day for the past, since 2016. But I kind of want a secondary mic to do something like I'm doing right here with the Volt, so I can go back and forth.
Yeah.
And that mic is like a dream mic.
The U87.
Yeah. What's the difference going to be? Does the U87 pick up a lot of extraneous noise?
Yeah, so as you can probably hear in this recording, there's a lot of noise going on around me, and it's probably getting picked up pretty well on this
by
microphone.
That mic?
So the U87 by Neumann is going to be better for those well-insulated booths or rooms, the sound-treated rooms.
Okay.
But the reason you would want to buy a large diaphragm microphone like this is going to pick up a lot of subtleties in your voice, and specifically with this one, I've noticed when I was listening to it in our booth earlier, it smooths out a lot of the high ends. So it smooths out the sibilances, smooths out the high frequencies, so I think that would be good for your voice.
Both with you and
Did you see me point at Bobby, by the way?
I know, I have terrible sibilants.
Now, so my story, I used to have a U87. I had a U87 for a couple of years, but my man, it was too good of a microphone for my space that I had at the time. Mm-hmm. It's funny because way back in 2005 or 6, Bobby, I was reinvesting in myself, and I looked up old Joe Cipriano way back in 2005, and I carbon copied his exact same setup. So I got a U87, I got an Avalon VT737 Pre, and then that was my setup, that was my chain, and I edited with Pro Tools. But the space I had was in the upstairs area of my house, and I had converted a closet, which was right next to my attic, into a booth. I double-walled it. I did all the drywall work and all that, and it was pretty tight. But that U87 was still too good. It would pick up little cracks, like if the house settled a little bit, it picked it up.
Yeah.
So ultimately, I bought a 416. Mm-hmm. And then because it's so targeted, it's directed. But then I got to a place where I was like, I miss the openness, I miss that warmth, like the U87. So I had a friend recommend the Manley reference mic, which he described it as a 416 and a U87 having a baby. That's what he said.
Interesting.
Because you get the beefiness from this, but then you get that nice big warmth from the U87. So that's my U87 backstory.
So my vocal booth Silver Series would never work with this mic. Living 20 miles from a army base.
We could work on that, because that crossed my mind as soon as he starts. Oh, that's what I was going to get to. The 416 does seem to pick up sibilants a fair amount.
Yeah.
And sometimes plosives can be harsh on it. I got me, some good protection for it. But I do miss the U87 in that one. But I think with some treatment in your booth, I think that could be a very fine microphone.
When I moved to the basement, then Steve built me my new studio.
There you go. Sam, thank you for your time.
No problem.
Thank you for your expertise.
Hi, everyone. This is voice actor Karin Gilfrey, and you're listening to my awesome friends Kevin and Bobby on the amazing Making Waves VO podcast.
We're going to go over to Nick Welsh now, and Nick is from Full Compass as well. And Nick, if you would, please tell us your title and what do you do at Full Compass?
I have the honor of being the Vice President of Merchandising at Full Compass, and I also get to work with my brother, Jason Welsh.
He's
the Vice President of Marketing. So
you didn't realize
you've got the.
No, he was your brother.
I forgot to tell you. Sorry.
I don't see it.
Yeah, if we sat next to each other and we were talking, you would totally see the inflections. More from a voice standpoint, I would say. But yeah, we're very different people.
Yeah.
I was the musician. I just chased after music, and he was always the digital creator, the graphic artist, and we grew up in a print shop my mom owned, and so, that's where he got his start. And I somehow ended up at Full Compass. Many years later, I worked for Musician's Friend for many years, which was a great company in the musical instrument category. And I also worked for Guitar Center corporate headquarters. Worked with a lot of people out there. And then, came out to Full Compass about 10 years ago. So.
And you've actually been there longer than your brother, right?
Yeah. I was the first Welsh to the Wisconsin.
Do you have the bigger office?
I do actually. No, yeah.
You can see the brotherly rivalry getting going there.
Mom!
That's so funny. So tell us about your music background and what kind of gear do you still record and do stuff? What do you have? What's in your toolbox for gear?
Yeah. So I grew up a drummer. So I mainly was a session drummer, and I was kind of a closet writer. And I started picking up guitar in like high school, and then I started writing. And so I've toured as a drummer. So that's my main passion. Love playing the drums, but as far as music goes, I did a solo record. I had the ability to do a complete solo record where I recorded all the parts.
Oh, wow.
I had some really good friends help out and jump in on some things, but that went under the name Rooster Tail, which is available on all your media streaming. So, yeah.
Love it. That's great. What do you still dabble in it?
I do. Yeah, I write. I'm also worship director for a local church.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I do all sorts of stuff, and I've also got 4 kids, and my grandma lives with us, so that's also keeps me very busy. So I don't get as much time to play music as I'd like to. But
Mike and Sam said that they both have learned this week more about the voiceover business. Same for you?
So much, yes. This has been incredible experience. We've had so many good, rich conversations, taking what I know about, music recording and just shifting it. And it's such a unique art. It's been so fascinating to learn and to hear from everybody and where they're at in their journey. And it's been a really good time.
Has anything surprised you being here?
Surprised me. Ooh.
Like from the voice talent?
I think what's really surprised me is just the community. How vibrant, how passionate people are, how engaged, how hungry they are to learn. That's what's been, people want to absorb what we're doing here, and it's so refreshing to not just be a booth where people, don't want to make eye contact. They want to come and engage,
Oh yeah, you set up some microphones. You're really good.
Yeah.
It's interesting because most coaches and managers will tell voiceover people just getting into the business, do not buy your equipment right off, out of the gate, because you want to learn what genres you're going to be doing.
Right.
Whether it's promo where you're really blasting or it's audiobook where it's going to be softer. So I'm sure they're coming in here just drooling.
Right.
But it's smart of them, and then they'll find the right product and they'll call you guys and decide.
It's been great because we've identified the kind of qualifier questions. So it's not like when they come in, I'm not just pointing them to a microphone. You have to ask, okay, what's your story? What are you doing? What's your room situation like? What are you trying to achieve? And from there, you get a lot of information to point people in the right direction. And so that's been a blast. Having so much fun.
And what I love about this is that is the very similar experience you will get when you call Full Compass and talk to a representative. I went through all that because I had a bunch of questions when I got my Apollo Twin for Full Compass. I was like, I don't know what to do. What am I going to do? And, I can't remember the rep's name, but he was so helpful and friendly and knowledgeable. And that's what, I'm decent with tech, right? But still, there are many questions that I will have. And I can't imagine somebody just getting into this. So, Bobby, you can speak to that from the just being green or naive point of view in terms of you want that comfort and that, safety net of talking to somebody that knows what they're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know tech, and you know that. You know that. Actually, remember when George Whittam was it both of us on the podcast?
Yeah.
And he said, one of you has a problem with your booth. And he goes, I'm not going to say which one it is. I went, no, you got to say it. You got to say it. And he said it was something about where I was on my microphone, and he was hearing something. So I don't know, but it's so refreshing to know that we can call you and say, this is what I'm looking for, steer me in for, educate me on these products.
Right.
And you guys do a price match too, don't you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we will match any price you find, and mostly we just like to work with people. We like to consult people. It's built on very consultative approach. That's the core of our business is relationship.
Yeah.
And so relationship is so utterly important to the company and the fabric of our company. We want to be your trusted resource. We want to be the person that kind of takes that load off of you so you can focus on your craft, and we'll take care of you with the rest.
So if there is a price match and you're an attendee of the conference,
yes,
they can still get an additional 20% off.
That is fantastic. Yeah, a reminder again that all attendees of VO Atlanta will get up to 20% off on some major brands. Certain restrictions apply, of course. Make sure and you'll find all that out as you go through the process. But there's some amazing deals. We can't talk about brand names, but there are some big ones, right?
There might be some big ones. Yeah.
There might be some big ones. There may or may not be some big ones.
Yep.
And those savings could be up to $1,000. That is fantastic. So you could spend up to $5,000 and get up to $1,000 off. Again, limitations apply, and it's for a limited time only, and it's for VO Atlanta attendees.
I'm still looking at U87 over there.
But we'll talk to Full Compass about those kinds of things and all that good stuff. Well, Nick, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
We'll let you get back at it, and we're going to chat for a little bit more, and then we'll wrap her up.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Appreciate
good
it.
sir. You don't want to miss what's next. Making Waves returns momentarily.
This is the Making Waves VO podcast with Kevin Kilpatrick and Bobby Maxwell. I'm Chris McCloy, and they didn't pay me a dime to say this. Why am I doing this for free? Hang on a sec. I'll talk to my agent.
Full Compass is your one-stop destination for cutting-edge audio, video, and lighting solutions. With nearly 50 years of industry expertise, we offer a vast selection of high-quality equipment from microphones, recording interfaces, and software to audio accessories, monitors, headphones, and other pieces to help you find your ideal sound. Our trained product experts are here to help every step of the way with unmatched customer service. You'll also get free same-day shipping, flexible financing options, and a low price guarantee. Visit us online at fullcompass.com or call 800-356-5844 today.
Now back to the podcast.
Well, this has been another amazing voiceover Atlanta, and Full Compass with their partnership is just amazing. And what I love is they are curating, Bobby, their offerings for the voiceover community.
Yeah, that's when we first got in touch with Full Compass. They told us, that this is their background, but we have really been inspired by the voiceover community, and we want to get in there even more. So if you give them a call and tell them what you want and tell them where you want to go, they're going to want to work with you because they're as passionate about this right now or anytime as you are.
I love it. I love all these different microphones. It was kind of neat talking all these different styles of microphones, and I'll be curious to hear the sounds when it all comes together and we get the podcast put together and everything. But just as a reminder, Bobby is talking on Electro Voice RE20. I am talking on the legendary Sennheiser 416, and our guests have been on the Neumann U87.
And this is the Rode over here, right, Sam?
Or is that's the Shure?
The Shure, excuse me.
7MB?
7MB.
Okay.
So I can go like back and forth. So cool, right?
You're a nerd. And then the interface was the UA Volt 476P. It's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. And folks, one more time, make sure and take advantage of now for the VO Atlanta attendees. The code is Bobby.
VOA VOATL. Are you kidding me, Kevin?
25.
I don't have my readers on.
VOATL 25. So VOATL 25 at checkout. And that is good only through the month of April. So take advantage of it. It's for VO Atlanta attendees. Some limitations apply, but you'll find that out. But man, what a wide offering for these savings they are having.
I mean, we're talking anything. They've got these. Remember last year the boom arm that they brought along?
Yeah.
It was. There are some exceptions, but just ask them about it. Make sure that you tell them that you were at VO Atlanta for 25.
For sure, and it's a reminder. I was talking to Bobby about this. I think I can always use cables. I can always use maybe a new boom arm, but just some stuff. Even if you don't need something, or if you want to reinvest in yourself, I always encourage folks to just keep reinvesting in yourself as you get better. You start making some money. Put that money back into yourself.
Yeah,
and that goes with gear and making your sound better and all these kinds of things. It's been another fun podcast, Bobby.
Yeah. Well, let's put a wrap on this one. You've got a session coming up, buddy.
Oh, yeah, that's right. One more time, the Making Waves VO podcast presented by Full Compass, fullcompass.com.
We know VO.
Bye, y'all.
The Making Waves VO podcast is produced by K2 Media Productions with hosts Kevin Kilpatrick and Bobby Maxwell. Sound design and editing by Jason Traver. Production assistance by Lacey Deline. Publicity and social media by Shannon Scott and Silas Phillips. Be sure to subscribe to the Making Waves VO podcast on your favorite platform. For all episodes, merchandise, gear, and more, visit makingwavesvo.com. Until next time, I'm AJ McKay. Keep making waves.